Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into the North Main Minute. I'm Joshua Doby. A word that was, let's call it, batted around a lot during this political season. That I'm not sure that a whole lot of folks actually know the full extent ramifications of them. We're not going to get into all of them here, but definitely want to touch on it. It's this word, tariff. Now, tariff, generally speaking, let's get to the academic and the definition end of things. Generally speaking, a tariff is a tax. That's an easy way to think about it. A tariff is a tax, usually on inbound goods coming from other countries. So here's the idea. There are inbound, let's say, coming from Taiwan or from China or from South Korea. There are goods coming in, electronics, automobiles, agricultural items, any number of things that are coming into the U.S. in my example here. There's an additional tax or tariff put on them, which actually makes them then more expensive for the consumer to buy. You say, well, why would we want to do that? Why do we want to put tariffs on things to make it more expensive for the consumer to buy? The idea behind it in its academic form is that you would slow down or stop your buying of those foreign inbound products and buy some things which are manufactured or made here domestically. So it's meant to, let's say, disincentivize the purchasing of those goods which are coming from overseas and incentivize the buying of things that may be manufactured here in the States. That is the very academic end of things. So a tax in order to disincentivize buying things from overseas and hopefully incentivizing buying things manufactured here in the U.S. But there are other, sometimes unintended consequences that come with that. Sometimes with tariffs, we get higher inflation. That can mean higher interest rates. Not saying that's going to happen if tariffs are implemented. That would be way too binary to say that and inappropriate in terms of the complexity of the issue, but definitely something to keep in mind, that can be an unintended consequence that can happen, especially if the tariffs are more broad-based. Two, the other item to keep in mind, it may be true that the tariffs on certain inbound goods, that's the only source of where those particular inbound goods can be bought, meaning there aren't other options perhaps or like-kind options here in the U.S. to buy. And that may mean that if you still want to buy those items that have the tariffs associated with them, it's going to be more expensive for you. More expensive might mean a slowdown in consumer spending. It's going to be interesting to see what that unintended consequence may be as well. Third big item to keep in mind as well, sometimes there are retaliatory tariffs. Meaning that if we establish a tariff against a particular good from a particular country, that country may do the same thing to things that we produce on our end of things. That can slow down manufacturing, that can slow down growth, that can slow down sales as well. So a couple of big items to keep in mind there. It's not true that we just press a button and things work. There always are domino lines falling in multiple directions based upon these kinds of things. Just wanted to take a moment to explain those to you. So that as you're having your next conversation, well, don't do that because that would be terribly boring. You listen to people like me do that kind of stuff. Don't do that at any party you're going to, but good to keep in mind and good to understand it in a little more broad-based ways. If you'd like to chat about what actually more macro, maybe even global economic policy means for your portfolio, for your planning, should you make adjustments? Should you think about things differently based upon what's happening on the macro scene in a global kind of sense? Does that make certain kinds of equities, bonds, and other investments more attractive, less attractive? We'd love to talk with you. NorthMainFinancial.com.